The Rays kicked off the 2017 season in style Sunday with a 3 RBI day from Logan Morrison and Evan Longoria going deep into Ducky's Landing en route to a 7-3 win. Tonight, right-hander Jake Odorizzi makes his season's debut against Gary Sanchez and the Yankees. Opening week of the 2017 Major League Baseball season continues tonight. This will be the second game of a 3-game series at Tropicana Field. The Tampa Bay Rays play host to the New York Yankees. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to an evening of Rays baseball with Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stats. Great to have you aboard. Well, the Rays were winners here Sunday, 7-3 to kick off the brand new year. A lot of things went right, BA, including Kevin Kiermaier in the number 2 spot was on base 4 times.
Yeah, and usually when you think about Kevin Kiermaier, you go right to defense, and for good reason, and at least for now. We'll see that offense coming around. But with Kiermaier, listen, for me, he is the best defender in the game. Tremendous jumps, great routes. He's got awesome closing speed, a flair for the dramatic, and oh, by the way, a pretty strong arm too. And you can see right there, 2-time American League Gold Glove winner, including a Platinum Glove, but it's right there. It's the work that he's been doing with the bat in his hands. Occasional power, but look at the on-base percentage since moving up into the 2-hole at the during last season. I mean, this is a guy that, continues to work the bunt in, uses the whole field a lot better than he has in the past, and continues to develop. He's a great fit right there at the top of that Rays lineup.
He was so successful there last year. Kevin Cash has decided to keep him right there at the beginning of this 2017 season. On the mound tonight for the Rays, the right-hander Jake Odorizzi, who finished last year with 10 wins and finished strong with 7 wins in his last 8 decisions. And tonight, Jake Odorizzi goes to the hill against the New York Yankees. series, second game of a 7-game homestand. Yankees in tomorrow, followed by the Toronto Blue Jays. But tonight, it's Jake Odorizzi on the hill. Right now, let's go to the field and Alex Cordry. Alex?
Hey there, Dwayne. Well, pitching coach Jim Hickey calls Jake Odorizzi a lunch pail type of player. When describing the righty, he says his work ethic never wavers, and he's the true definition of constant. Well, the Rays relish the fact they know exactly what they're getting every 5 days that he takes the mound. Just ask their skipper, Kevin Cash.
He is. He's a model of consistency, what he's done the last couple of years. I mean, you look at the injury he had 2 years ago, messed up his oblique and missed some time, and it really hurt us because we rely on him so much every 5th day, and we're excited to have him out there today.
Odorizzi looks to pick up right where he left off a year ago, going 7-1 with a 2.71 ERA and 14 starts just after the All-Star break. Dwayne?
He'll be opposed by the left-hander CC Sabathia, who finished last year at 9-12. Rays baseball and the Yankees coming up next. On the heels of the 7-3 victory Sunday, Jake Odorizzi goes to the mound for the Rays tonight to square off against the New York Yankees. Odorizzi 5-5 in his career against New York. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for New York, presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Brett Gardner again will lead it off, followed by the young catcher Gary Sanchez, and at first base Greg Bird. Matt Holliday, Jacoby Ellsbury, and Starlin Castro down the middle. Chase Headley, Aaron Judge, and Ronald Torreyes rounding out Joe Girardi's lineup.
Well, Jake Odorizzi a season ago went 10-6. He was the only Rays starter with a winning record, and he did that on the strength of a very strong second half after the All-Star break last year. 7-1 with a 2.71 earned run average heading into the offseason.
And Brett Gardner steps into the batter's box. Again in the leadoff spot for New York. First pitch of this game. Big cut in the miss. Strike one. Odorizzi A bit up in the zone and right down the middle.
Well, he likes to pitch up in the zone with that fastball. He can spin it well and likes to keep it up close to the eyes, make it enticing.
Now 1-1. Gardner had a hit in the game Sunday, went 1 for 4. We'll run the count to 1-2. Odorizzi a year ago against the Yankees was 2-1. And when you look at his numbers overall, more success against lefties than righties.
Well, and you know, the first thing you think about is that split change with the good finish on it, but he's also very good against these lefties with the fastball, and that's how he's been going after Gardner.
Foul out of play. Yeah, when he is right, a hitter has a lot of territory to be concerned about.
You're absolutely right. And look at that 190 average against lefties. What he does is he forces hitters to defend the entire strike zone. He works up in the zone with the fastball, down with the split change. He'll work in, he will work out.
Lifted into left center field, and Kiermaier is right there. That'll be the first out tonight.
Well, let's take a look at that Rays defense. See how it's going to line up here tonight. Brought to you by Gold and Diamond Source. And in that outfield, left to right, we have Peter Borges, Kevin Kiermaier, and Steven Souza Jr. Across the infield, third to first, Evan Longoria, Tim Beckham, Brad Miller, and Ricky Weeks Jr. with Derek Norris behind the plate.
Well, I don't know what kind of year Ricky Weeks Jr. is going to have, but he had a great spring. He had never played first base, and he handled that spot flawlessly in the spring. And to this point has been a key addition to this team. First pitch to Gary Sanchez is a strike. So it'll be interesting to see. He has brought a key veteran presence to the Rays.
Well, and he's going to have every opportunity for success because he's going to get playing time. You know, that you think about that platoon at first base with Logan Morrison and obviously Weeks Jr., the other half of that.
Two balls and a strike.
I like everything that you hear about how he carries himself.
I do
Not
indeed.
just a veteran with putting the years in, but how he carries himself, how he expects others to carry themselves. Just a great addition across the board.
We'll take the count to 2-2.
And when we talk about Jake Odorizzi and making a hitter defend the strike zone, how he's working Sanchez here.
Yeah, he's going right after him.
Yeah, right at, you know, he starts, you had the slider and a cutter that was away, then come back in with the fastball, all over the place.
And he strikes him out. 2 up and 2 down.
He starts him middle down and then slider off the plate, cutter off the plate, fastball down and in, and then raise one up to the upper third of the zone, and look how it jumps right over the bat. Just a perfect sequence there by Jake Odorizzi. Down across the zone and then pop one up and pick the strikeout up.
It's Greg Bird coming off a very solid spring. A little bit wide there. Gardner out on a fly ball. Sanchez on the strikeout. 2-0. Three and 0. Three and 1. And he walked him there. stayed away. So Bird heads to first.
We saw that in opening day. You know, Greg Bird had such a great spring training. Big numbers, average, power across the board, and so you fall behind him early, you just go ahead and nibble, let him take his base and go to work on Matt Holliday.
You try to get him into some bad habits.
Right? You try to get him to start expanding that zone. You're right, because as much as Greg Bird is willing to take a walk, he wants to swing the bat.
He hit 8 home runs this spring. Now Matt Holliday lifts a high fly ball to right. Souza Jr. making the catch. A walk and a man left. Strikeout as well. Bottom of the first coming. Rays coming in to hit, no score. We'll take a look at the lineup put together by Kevin Cash and presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Steven Souza Jr. leading off, playing right, followed by Kevin Kiermaier and Evan Longoria. Ricky Weeks Jr. in the cleanup spot in front of Tim Beckham, and then Brad Miller. Derek Norris. David Robertson makes his major league debut as the DH. And Peter Borges in there, hitting ninth and playing left field. So it'll be Souza, Kiermaier, Longoria, Weeks, Beckham, Miller, Derek Norris, Daniel Robertson, and Peter Borges.
Well, they'll be going up against CC Sabathia. 30 starts a year ago. That ERA 3.91. His best effort in the last few seasons. And how about this, Dwayne? His 42nd start career against the Tampa Bay Rays.
First pitch is a strike call. Well, the last few years have been interesting for Sabathia. You know, he started dominating the Rays and then had a long stretch where he really struggled against them. Last year came back to be an important part of their rotation. Ground ball. Castro at second makes a nice play, moving to his left to get Souza Jr.
Well, let's quickly set the New York Yankee defense for you here tonight. And we'll get back to that Sabathia talk because it is pretty interesting. Brought to you by Golden Diamond Source. This is what it's going to look like. In that outfield left to right, we have Brett Gardner, Jacoby Ellsbury, and Aaron Judge. Across the infield third to first, Chase Headley, Ronald Torreyes, Starlin Castro, and Greg Bird with Gary Sanchez behind the dish.
And here is Kiermaier. Kevin with a double single and 2 walks and a run scored, couple of runs scored, and a steal in the game Sunday. He takes a strike.
Yeah, and some good numbers off of CC Sabathia.
Yeah,
although limited.
5 with a couple of home runs.
A couple of home runs.
Two. Well, you go back to 13. Sabathia won 14 games. He was 14 and 13. But things started to go the other way for him that year.
Yeah.
High ERA, more hits allowed than innings pitched. A little tap. Sabathia gloves and throws, 2 gone. And for a couple of seasons there, he had some physical issues, and he struggled. And last year was a little bit more to his liking.
You know, I think that he's had a long career. You know, 17th season in Major League Baseball. We already talked about all the starts against Tampa Bay, but he's reinvented himself a couple of times already in his career. You know, early on he was a thrower. Then he's all of a sudden developed a changeup and became an elite pitcher in the league. Now you start to lose some stuff, and you're no longer the overpowering guy. So now you've got to figure out how to pitch, finesse, and that's what he's been doing the last couple of seasons.
Well, he gets a call right there.
Yeah, well, and that's another way. You round long enough, you get those, I don't want to say borderline, but you get some of those every now and then. But, you know, he was a fastball, you know, breaking ball, changeup guy. Now you see, you know, the slider. He'll cut it. In fact, he uses the cutter quite a bit against lefties and righties. More finesse, has to move the ball around the zone.
Wide with that one, 2-1. Well, when you look over Longoria's career, he's had some good numbers against Sabathia. The Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. 7 homers and an average of .403 against Sabathia. He lines it into right field. That's going to be in there. Glove by Judge, and by grabbing that ball before it went all the way to the wall, he holds Longoria to a single.
That's where, well, another area in which 6'7" you can use to your advantage, and he needed every bit of his frame to track this down. Evan Longoria getting worked all over the zone by Sabathia, but he stays down and through that ball that's down and away and shoots it out into right field, and Judge, you're right there, keeps it from being an extra base hit. It's one of those plays that you don't see it in the scorebook, but you keep a runner out of scoring position with 2 outs. No idea how that may turn out.
Ricky Weeks Jr. Want to know the count? Weeks in Arizona last year. He's 2 of 11 in his career against Sabathia. Shot back into center field, well tagged. Ellsbury to the wall, and he makes the catch to retire the side. He had a step left before he hit the wall out there to haul that drive. A well-hit fly ball to center off the bat of Ricky Weeks Jr. And the Rays leave a man in the first. No score through 1. Baseball on Fox Sports Sun, brought to you by your local Ford dealers and by Toyota. Let's go places. From Tropicana Field onto the second inning. Jacoby Ellsbury, who caught that long fly ball off the bat of Ricky Weeks Jr., will lead off the second for New York. Fouls away the first pitch from Jake Odorizzi. Ellsbury, then Castro and Headley in the second inning. Again, out of play with a foul ball, 0-2. Popped up third base side. This one playable. Longoria puts it away.
I mean, how about even that sequence right there to Jacoby Ellsbury? Just here's some four-seam fastballs. I'm going to work, start out a little bit away, come in, go back out away, and weak contact. He is not afraid to challenge guys with a fastball that when you look at the radar gun, you'd say, it's obviously not overpowering velocity-wise, but boy, does he disguise it well, and he puts it in good spots.
Starlin Castro. Ball, no strikes. Breaking ball there. Start Castro. Shot foul, 1-1. It was Castro who last year at the end of May, when Odorizzi retired the first 16 men he faced, and then Dustin Ackley reached on an error and he was erased on a double play ball. And then in the 7th inning, Starlin Castro hit a 2-run home run that broke it up. Kiermaier back not yet to the track for this one. Castro is the second out. Our Toyota inside look. A strong finish for Jake Odorizzi last year after the All-Star break.
Well, you could see, we talked about it a little bit, as he was taking the mound, ended up with a 10-6 record on the strength of this second half, and really it was, he continued to pitch the same way. Sprinkled in the sliders, some cutters, but majority of fastballs up. The split change really was much improved in the second half and helped lead to those numbers.
Borges under this one, and Headley is the third out. 3 up and 3 down. We'll go into the bottom of the second. No score. Stay follow Rays Baseball Live with the MLB.com at-bat mobile app. Stay connected to the game's best players all season long with Game Day. Live game video highlights, radio broadcasts, stats, news, and more. Download MLB.com at-bat today, your #1 app for live baseball. Beckham swinging over the first pitch for a strike. Beckham leading off. Brad Miller will be next, and then Derek Norris. Run the count to 0-2. Sabathia made 4 starts in the spring at a .675 ERA, 0-1. Right side out of play. And he might occasionally hit 90, but he's going to average 88, 89. Somewhere in that neighborhood.
Shown a little bit more life here tonight, but you're right. He's a finesse guy now. He's just a different pitcher, and you can see how he's working Tim Beckham in this at bat. You know, a slider to start him off with, then come with a cutter in on the hands, and then let one rip back to a breaking ball, moving the ball around the zone.
Got in on Beckham, and he pops it into shallow center. Castro out from second.
And it just goes to show you that it's not always just pure velocity. Sometimes you can sequence a guy into being overpowered, which is what he did right there to Tim Beckham.
And that comes with years of experience, and Sabathia has plenty of that. Originally up with the Indians in 2001. Brief stint with Milwaukee and then the Yankees. Strike to Miller. Brad had 2 hits Sunday. 1. And because of Sabathia's style now, we really have a couple of interesting pitchers to watch, the way they will work these hitters now.
Hey, let's go.
Opposite field sends Gardner back, but a lot of room. 2 gone.
And the key word that you used, Wayne, is how they work the hitters, because that's what they're trying to do. They're not going to stay in one specific area of the strike zone very often. You know, occasionally you'll see Jake Odorizzi stay at the top of the zone with fastball and just above. But for the most part, these guys want to utilize the entire strike zone and make you have to look for everything, or at least react to it.
Well, Derek Norris, here's Jake in the dugout. Norris is 3 for 9 in his career against Sabathia with a home run. First pitch is wide. Marvin Hudson calling the balls and strikes tonight. A strike right there at the very bottom of the zone.
Listen, the way that Marvin Hudson is calling it here tonight, these hitters had better be ready to swing the bat, because if it's close, it's getting cold.
Two and one.
Apparently that wasn't close enough.
Yeah, well, that was close, but not that close.
I guess. Perfect timing.
This one is popped up. Castro out there waiting for this one from second base. And a quick second inning for Sabathia, as it was for Odorizzi. No score through 2. Bright in Tampa Bay as the New York Yankees, led by Gary Sanchez, take on Evan Longoria in the race. So don't miss the action Wednesday at 6 Eastern on FS1. We go to the third. Aaron Judge will lead it off for New York. Both Odorizzi and Sabathia, a couple of quick innings here to start this game. And the first pitch here in the third is a strike. Torreyes next, and then back to the top of the order, Brett Gardner. A strike on the outside corner. Happy to have in our booth Ken Rosenthal. Ken, you'll be with the crew tomorrow night covering this game. Great to see you. And right away, I want to get your take this year on the American League East, because there are a lot of questions no matter where you look in this division. I think it's going to be an interesting division. There's a base hit off an 0-2 pitch. So I think a lot of people are going to love the Red Sox first, maybe the Blue Jays, but there are questions there as well.
Dwayne, I absolutely agree with you. And let's start with the Red Sox,
okay,
because they're the team to beat in most everyone's estimation. They've started the season with 3 of their principal pitchers on the DL. We're talking about Price and Thornburg and Pomerantz. Now, when each of these guys returns, no one seems to know. Pomerantz apparently is making good progress, but that's a question there. I love the team they have on the field, their position players. We all know they're brilliant. Then you look at the Jays. No Edwin Encarnacion anymore.
Ooh, here's a long one off the bat of Torreyes. Dodgers will run out of room, and that one is gone. Torreyes jumping on the first pitch and giving New York a 2-0 lead. Ronald Torreyes got hold of that one. Odorizzi touched for 29 home runs last year, and Torreyes gets him tonight.
Well, and when you pitch up in the zone, and that right there looked like a cutter that just didn't quite get to the spot that Jake Odorizzi wanted it, and Ronald Torreyes really didn't overswing there. Got a mistake out over the plate. He was quick to the baseball, and you catch it on the barrel, it's going to jump.
So the Yankees take a 2-0 lead, and a shot by Gardner toward the corner. Susie Jr. will play it out of the corner. Gardner can run, but decides to stop at second with a double.
Well, Ken, it was great having you up here tonight.
I was going to say, Brian, if there's one thing I've learned over the years, it's to shut up when the ball starts getting sprayed all over the place.
Oh, my.
Well, Ken, back to your
so
thoughts now on the
we just started
division.
on the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
We're going
Yeah.
Red Sox, Blue
I better
Jays.
go quicker, it looks like. The Blue Jays, to me, are a questionable team only because they're a different offensive team without Encarnacion. And Kendrys Morales, an accomplished player, he'll do fine, I'm sure, but they're asking a lot of Steve Pearce, who was here for some time, and I'm just not totally convinced. The Orioles, every year, it looks like they're not going to be any good. This year, the same, because of the injury to Tillman, the questions of their rotation, yet we know they'll figure it out. This team we're watching here, the Yankees, because of their rotation, I don't see them being a contender, but they're interesting because of all the young players that they're mixing in. And finally, Tampa Bay. Now, this is a team that in the past couple of years I've fallen in love with to my detriment in my predictions. So I didn't do that this year, which means that probably this is the year they'll be really good. But their pitching is such that you always think they have a chance to be decent. And it looks like offensively, Brian, they're a little bit different. They're going to do things a little bit differently and maybe be a little bit more potent.
Well, that's the hope, because last year one-dimensional. You know that 216 home runs, that was great, but that was really the only way they scored runs. And you add that speed factor and try to make that focus on situational hitting, runners in scoring position, and they've got a chance. But when you look at these two teams, what do you think are their greatest strengths and their biggest areas of concern?
For the Rays right now, it's the bullpen without Boxberger and shortstop without Duffy. And I know you really haven't seen Duffy yet. That guy is a really good player. And if he ever gets healthy, in my view, he's a difference maker. Not a star necessarily, but a quality player who helps you win. The Yankees' biggest question is clearly their rotation behind the top three guys. And the top three I refer to are Tanaka, who was not great in the opener, obviously, Sabathia, and Michael Pineda. And even with Sabathia and Pineda, there are significant questions. So that's a team that probably can go either way. But with Tampa Bay, the bullpen, to me, is the one thing they've got to kind of figure out. And maybe they will. Teams do figure out bullpens from time to time. Sometimes it goes the other way. But they have enough ability there that you think that perhaps they could sort through it.
This is Gary Sanchez fouling one away. Ken, the thing about these two teams going forward that I like, two individuals that really may represent the next generation of players, and that's Kiermaier in center field and Sanchez at the plate right now catching for the Yankees.
Agreed. And I love watching Kiermaier. Who doesn't? He is one of the great defenders in center field that we've seen in my time covering the game. This guy's one of the best. And Sanchez is just a really interesting guy. He had his ups and downs in the minor leagues, and he has come on, got a work ethic. Obviously, the swing is rather good, and the defense has come a long way. So, talking to Matt Holliday today, he thinks Sanchez could be one of the top 2 or 3 catchers in the game going forward as he develops over time.
Well, I think he was, 13 out of 32 last year opposing base stealers. And then even, Dwayne and I were remarking just watching his batting practice and the line drives and how quickly they leave the bat and they hit the seats. It's remarkable how the ball comes off that bat.
It's funny, I made a mental note to myself after his first at bat. How many teams or how many right-handed hitters do the Rays shift on? I would imagine it's not that many, and yet they shifted on him the first at bat. A little bit different now with the runner on second, but that's quite a statement for a guy who really hasn't played all that much.
And Odorizzi has the count go to 3-2. Starting out to be one of those deep counts that occasionally Odorizzi will run. Careful here to Sanchez. 2 runs home. It's Gardner at second and nobody out. 3-2 on Sanchez. And he got it. So Sanchez out on strikes, a 10-pitch at bat. And the fastball got him.
Well, it's that fastball that's out over the plate with a little bit of elevation. And you see Gary Sanchez, he sees the ball big, takes a big swing, and again, it just hops over the bat. Tough start here 2017 for the Yankee catcher.
Ken, talk about this guy a little bit. Bird coming in and what he could mean to this New York club.
Well, he is a really interesting player, and in some ways maybe the most mature of their young players. And I mean that as a player, not as a person or anything like that. He has an advanced approach. He's a guy that missed all of last year with that shoulder operation. He said it taught him the value of patience and perseverance. When you miss that much time, that's what it does, yes. And he just seems to be a really level-headed individual and the kind of player who, in time, if he is a good enough player, can be a leader on this team.
One and one here to Bird now with one out.
I was impressed with the numbers that he was able to put up in spring training, you know, after missing a year. You know, you always wonder the timing, what's it going to be like coming back in after having not seen live pitching in a long, long time, and to put up the kind of numbers that he did. Super impressive. And you describe him as a guy that seems to be perfectly fit for New York. You know, that's how you almost have to be if you want to succeed over the long haul in that city.
So true. And it is a different animal. And anyone who tries to suggest otherwise is simply mistaken. Boston and New York, to play there, it requires a different type of mettle. It's not that the players are necessarily tougher there or anything like that. It's just that to endure the daily grind there, it's a different daily grind than it is in Tampa Bay. And yes, Bird seems to fit that. Sanchez seems to fit it too. He seems pretty even-keeled.
So Odorizzi gets the strikeout here. Bird, 2 gone now. Your impression of this whole new generation of talent now in the game? You know, the talent's kind of interesting in this game. Something, it ebbs and flows. And suddenly, I think there's all kinds of young talent, exciting talent here in this game across the board.
I would agree, and even 2 of the game's great stars right now, Trout and Harper, are still relatively young players. So there has been this boon in recent years, and they don't all play for the Cubs, though a number of them do. And I look at Lindor and Correa and some of the other players. Even Arenado is not an older player yet. It's just really exciting to see, and every year it seems that there are more and more guys coming in, and Brian, able to handle things at a young age that maybe 10, 15 years ago they weren't asked to do. It's different now. Guys are pushed a little bit faster, and a number of them, the most talented ones, respond.
Well, and you're right. You think about organizationally moving these guys through the system at a quicker pace, you know, going to more youth, guys getting more opportunities in the day and age of social media. That's the thing, too. You know, when I played, you never had to deal with that. These guys now are on Twitter. They're closer to the fans than they've ever been before, which is a really great thing and can be a really bad thing at times, too, because that allows them access, allows them to get into your head potentially. There are just so many more distractions out there to deal with than there has been in years past, and they're doing it at a younger age.
And yet they come up with a certain savviness to media that when I started 30 years ago, they didn't have. And I think it's just what you said. It's growing up in an age of media, not just social media. These guys have been interviewed since the time they were teenagers, many of them. Right. Television interviews, print interviews. And they just seem to know how to handle themselves. It's actually a lot easier for guys like myself than it used to be.
Peter Borges lost that ball in the roof on that high fly ball. That was out number 3, but he just could not find it. Gardner scores, and Holiday winds up at second base. So Peter Borges, a late addition to the Rays in spring training, coming in here and having trouble with the ceiling. You can see right there.
You know, and here's the thing, Dwayne. The ball off the bat, I thought for sure that the B ring was going to come into play. That ball looked like it was headed for the ring, and I wonder if that maybe played a role too. Not only playing the Tropicana field roof, that's always difficult, but then you add into the rings, and that ball was skied up to those rings. Didn't see it hit anything, but you just wonder if the added, you know, layer of difficulty maybe had something to do with that.
Yeah, that's a tough break for Odorizzi after giving up 2. Had come back to strike out Sanchez and Bird and was 1 pitch away from getting out, limiting the damage. And instead of that, and it being a 2-0 game, it's 3-0 with Holiday, who will get credit for a double in scoring position. And here's Jacoby Ellsbury.
Okay, Ken. So here's the deal. I read your stuff. Your predictions come out.
No, they're terrible.
Well, they're not terrible. They're actually not terrible. And we may be able to, if this inning goes any longer, we can get into what you think about the American League and everything else. But I was very intrigued by your American League Cy Young Award pick. I mean, right?
Oh, I had a little bit of fun with it.
That's under the radar.
Yeah, it didn't look too good today, by the way. It was Jose Quintana, and my theory was, okay, he pitches for the White Sox until July 31st, and he gets traded to Houston within the American League. Bingo. You have your Cy Young winner. Of course, he gets lit up today, so there's one that's already looking bad. And there will be many others looking bad before probably the month is over.
Yeah, everybody who makes predictions early, they never go back to them at the end of the year.
There's a reason
no
for that.
upside in that. No upside.
And actually, I hate making them because the reality is, tell me who's going to get hurt and tell me who is going to go backwards or break through, and then I can make predictions. I'd be really good at it.
Right.
Tell me who's going to get traded. But the game is so unpredictable year to year that really there's no educated way to do this, and we're all just guessing.
I love the honesty. Ground ball deflecting off Odorizzi. First base will be left open weeks after it to make the pickup, and Holiday goes to third.
Well, the first thing that you look at on a play like that is where exactly did it hit Jake Odorizzi, because that ball came off the bat pretty hot. Look at that right leg, maybe the outside of the right leg, and just deflects into no man's land.
First and third now with 2 outs, and Starlin Castro, as we mentioned the last time up, he's the guy who broke up the no-hit bid last year for Odorizzi with a home run in the 7th inning.
Well, you know, we talked about, you were talking about the uncertainty over the course of a season, and kind of hit on some of that early on with all of the injuries within the American League East that could affect things long term. You know, you start to look at your big picture, the American League, and who you like there. And you know, I know you like the Indians a lot, but you think about Jason Kipnis. You think about, you know, anytime a starting pitcher like Carlos Carrasco is getting an MRI in spring training, I don't care if it comes back clean or not, that's never a good sign. There seems to be a wide open track this year in the American League.
I would agree with that, Brian. And really, the injuries are so pivotal because look at the Indians last year. Now, we thought the injuries would crush them, and Paul Hoynes, my good friend from Cleveland Plain Dealer, wrote a column in September saying they're not going anywhere in the playoffs because they have too many injuries. Turns out they did rather well. But in general, Hoynes had the right idea. It's tough when you lose guys to be the team you want to be.
Here's Beckham with a toss to second. Tomorrow, 6 o'clock, FS1. Ken Rosenthal will be there with Kenny Albert and A.J. Przenski. Ken, thanks for being with us. We've enjoyed the visit.
Thanks, Dwayne.
A little tough luck there after that 2-run home run, and it turned out to be a 28-pitch inning for Jake Odorizzi. Daniel Robertson leads it off and takes the pitch. That's a strike. Robertson for the Rays, making his major league debut. His numbers last year at Durham, 259 with 5 home runs. He played all over the infield. DHing tonight, but he is capable of playing shortstop, second base, and third. And that versatility really helped him make this team. Bounces it towards short. Torres up with it. The throw to first. Did Bird keep his foot on the bag? No. And Robertson is aboard.
Well, of course, Greg Bird immediately looks into the Yankee dugout like, you know what, take a check on that. You know, Greg Bird's another guy, tall, lanky, used the body well there, but Ronald Torres just kind of pulls that throw a little bit. Well, they're going to take a look, too.
You can see Dan Bellino looking in to see if that foot was in contact with the bag.
And whatever your thoughts are, remember, the call went the Rays' way, and you haven't really seen anything definitive, even though it looks like it may be on the corner. That's not good enough.
Yeah, and the initial ruling is an error on the throw. Robertson helping Bellino out there on the call. And the Yankees challenge it, so we'll take a look.
We got a number of different looks there, and while it looked really close, and maybe some it looked like maybe it was on, maybe it's not definitive. And the fact that this went the Rays' way, I think you'd have a hard time overturning it from what we saw.
Torres in there at shortstop. Didi Gregorius out somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 weeks, give or take, because of the bad right shoulder sustained in the WBC. And the call, as you can see, safe at first base, and we'll see how that turns out.
Well, I've already put a couple of ones into the jar already. I'm going with stands on this one. Call stands, Robertson stays. Oh, of course.
So he's going to be out. Take the error off the scoreboard. Remove the base runner. And the Yankees prevail in that challenge.
Yeah, and I'd like to see the definitive angle, because I don't know if we did, but that's the way that it goes, and I'm 0 for 3 now. Maybe I'll sit the next one out.
Just keep swinging for the fences. Peter Borges up here. 1-0 the count. One ball, one strike. Borges with the Angels. Spent a couple years with the Cardinals, last year with the Phillies. That's a foul ball just outside the bag. Borges was in spring training with the White Sox and wound up with the Rays right at the end of spring training. Very good outfielder. But lost that fly ball in the ceiling. The top half of this inning. That gave the Yankees another run. A 2-2 count. Stays alive with that foul ball up the right side. Rays facing CC Sabathia tonight. The count is now full.
I'll tell you that fastball of Sabathia's here tonight has seemed to have a little bit more life than we've seen in previous starts.
Yeah, that fastball was over 90, 92 on the scoreboard here. Line drive, and it's caught by Headley. Well, Borges made a bid for a double at least into the corner, and Headley got that glove up there to make the catch. That's the second out.
And that looked to be a little cutter that was out over the plate, and Borges trying to sweep it down into the corner. That ball well struck, but Chase Headley with a quick reaction makes a heck of a backhanded stab.
So with the bases empty, we go to the top of the order. Steven Souza Jr. First time through the lineup, the Rays with one hit, and that was struck by Evan Longoria. Souza Jr. lifts a foul out of play. Well, the idea with Steven Souza Jr. this year is just to simplify things. Don't make it quite so complicated at the plate.
Well, that was the message coming from Chad Mottola in working with Steven Souza Jr. Don't overthink things. And and Kevin Cash said in this, this interesting leadoff spot for the Rays. He said we don't have a typical, prototypical leadoff hitter, and so you're going to see Corey Dickerson there. You're going to see Souza Jr. there. The idea to get him more at bats. Let him go up there and try to make something happen. I think Chad Mottola, what I had read, you're talking about win the at-bat. Don't worry so much about the end result. Just win the at-bat. You do that enough, the results take care of themselves.
It's very similar to what Archer was talking about coming out of yesterday's game. Execute the pitch. Don't worry about what's to come, what happened. Execute the pitch right now.
I tell you, and it's easier said than done. You're thinking about getting outs when you really have to simplify it, like you said, to that. This pitch, one spot, execute it, move on.
This one off the glove of Sabathia, and the throw to first, out over there, and a nice play after the deflection. So Souza out of there. Torres coming in to make the pickup. A great moment, April 4th, 2002. Randy Wynn belting a pinch hit grand slam in the 5th inning, helping the Rays to a season-opening 3-game sweep of the Detroit Tigers. go to the 4th inning tonight. Chase Headley takes a strike.
I thought that the Geico great moment tonight was going to be what happened in between innings with Kathy and Jimmy.
Marriage proposal.
And there was an acceptance.
Yes. You're never quite sure. You're always hopeful that she says yes.
And there they are. Well, listen, you're doing it not only publicly, but right out on the big screen. You better be sure.
Gorgeous right there for this one, making the catch for the out. Yeah, you better be sure.
Because wasn't there one like this offseason at a different sporting event where she kind of rebuffed? I think there was.
Wow.
I think so. Maybe I'm wrong. But this one went well for
Yes,
Kathy and Jimmy.
Yeah. And so we're very happy for both of them. And she looks a bit relieved.
It's a big moment.
Beautiful ring.
It was.
Aaron Judge. Strike one. Well, Judge opened the 3rd with a base hit. Foul ball straight back and off the facing of the booth.
That was close, Dwayne.
Yep.
Close.
Yep.
It hit right in between.
Yeah.
Right in between TV radio booth. Right up here.
Right there. Yeah.
Yep.
A ball, 2 strikes. You're going to have to start wearing a glove up here.
It's not a bad idea, and I carry one in the car all the time.
See, and with that on your right hand, you could have made a catch right there.
I could have made a play.
Yeah.
Jeez. You're right.
Two now, the count to Judge. Foul, out of play. Yankees scored all 3 in the 3rd, 2 coming on the Torreyes home run, and the other one on the double by Holiday that Borges lost in the ceiling. Count's going to go full. And that 3rd inning was one of those innings that Odorizzi from time to time will run into. 28 pitches in that inning. He had a couple crisp innings, and he's averaged over 17 and a half pitches per inning last year, and he strikes out Judge, got him to chase the pitch up.
Perfect example of how Jake Odorizzi, works power hitters. Again, it was splitters, split changes down in the zone, down and in, fastballs up, out over the plate. And so you just continually change the eye level, change the speed of the pitch, and eventually put him away.
Strike, breaking ball to Torreyes. Starts him with a nice breaking ball this time. He jumped on the first pitch and hit it out in the 3rd. And now it's 0-2.
Oh, there again. Off speed, bottom of the zone, fastball, top of the zone. You see it all the time with Jake. He's going to force you to react to all these different types of pitches, different speeds, and different locations.
Torreyes lays off the pitch up out of the zone. Out of play. Was that home run hit by Torreyes?
The pitch wasn't a bad idea. It just wasn't executed. Trying to go with what looked like it was either a cutter or a slider to the outside corner, and that ball just backed up on him right to the middle of the plate. easy read.
Into center field, Kiermaier coming on to make the catch. It's a 1-2-3 inning. Kiermaier made the grab, and he'll lead off the bottom of the 4th inning when the Rays come in to hit. Longoria and Weeks to follow. 3-0 New York. Kevin Kiermaier Saturday by snaring your own phenomenal catch. When the Rays take on the Blue Jays, fans will receive a KK Gold Glove bobble presented by Dex Imaging. Be a part of the action. Call 888-FAN-RAYS. Visit RaysBaseball.com. Rays up. Kiermaier goes after Sabathia's first pitch and fouls it right down into the Duckies' 162 landing. A souvenir for that young man. There you go. It's too close. It's 1-1. Well, Sabathia, we mentioned, was 9-12 last year and finished pitching well for the Yankees over his last 8 starts. He was 2-2 with a .237 earned run average to finish out the year. 1-2. Evan Longoria will be next. Got down on the count in the first inning, went out pitcher first. Behind Sabathia, 1-2 right now. By the mound. And the shift on for him, and that's Headley over there from third base. Out of the shift to throw him out. So 1 away. The Rays still with just 1 hit, and that belongs to Longoria. Their line is single into right, and Judge kept it out of the corner to prevent him from having an extra base hit.
And it would figure that Evan Longoria would be the one with the hit. He's got great career numbers against Sabathia. In fact, Sabathia is the one pitcher that he's faced more than any other in the game. But outside of that hit, Sabathia has done a masterful job of keeping the Rays lineup off balance thus far, using both sides of the plate, an assortment of breaking balls and cutters, move the fastball around.
1-1.
Just really not allowing the lineup to get comfortable on the defensive. And doing that, how about that, without a strikeout?
And he finds the zone there. 1-2. His pitch count's been good. Made 14 pitches in the third. That's his high in any one inning so far. Goes in tight with that one. 2-2. See what he does with this next one now.
Well, that's the thing when you look at how he's worked these pitches across the zone. You know, some backdoor breaking balls, that fastball up and in, followed, you know, previous pitch was a cutter on the inside corner, now back away.
It's fouled. Larry Rothschild, the original manager here with the Devil Rays, now the pitching coach of the Yankees. Did he go? No, he held up. And the count is full.
Boy, it looked to be close in real time. Let's take a look down below the zone, and he did hold up.
Second full count he's had on a hitter tonight. And he walks Longoria.
Just cannot figure him out.
So Evan on for the second time, aboard with one away for Ricky Weeks Jr. Weeks hit the ball solidly his first time and sent Ellsbury to the warning track. Weeks and Sabathia teammates briefly in Milwaukee back in 2008 when Sabathia went over there from Cleveland and went 11-2 for the Brewers. Boy, there's a pitch just on the corner, just a bit of the strike zone.
He's been using that a lot against the Rays righties, that cutter. You know, that ball presents itself as going to be out over the plate. You start your swing and it just darts in. It's all about poor contact.
Now 0-2. Well, the use of that cutter can make that fastball, which is not necessarily overpowering, makes it really effective.
If you know how to use it, and that's what he's been able to develop, is a good idea of how to put all those pitches together and make them work effectively in different sequences. But you're right, a well executed cutter, all it has to do is just a couple of inches to go from the barrel to the end of the bat or the barrel to the label, and you get bad contact, easy outs.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Sabathia with 223 major league wins. Weeks fouls it. Weeks out of Lake Brandley High School. A little wide there. 2-2. It's Tim Beckham on deck. Foul again. Nice battle here. He's fouling off a pitch. To get something to hit.
Something out over the plate, because you notice nothing is out over the heart of the plate. Had one backdoor breaking ball, everything else has been close to Ricky Weeks, trying to keep him from getting extended. Shooting at the hands.
It's away. The count goes full.
That always was a rule of thumb. You know, you see a setup of a hitter like Ricky Weeks, and he's got those hands a little bit lower than a lot of guys, and kind of sitting there, they become like a target. And you feel like if you can shoot him at the hands, you can tie him up. But you better get it there.
And he fouled it back. Well, this is a nice battle. You've got a veteran hitter and a veteran pitcher, and they're really going at it.
Who spent some time together.
Yes.
They know each other very well. So it all comes down to execution.
Oh, and he got him. Went up and struck him out. That's the first strikeout tonight for Sabathia.
Well, eventually, you can see right there, just kind of cutting that ball in a little bit, got it up in the zone, some pretty good velocity, and over the hands, over the swing. Big win there for Sabathia.
Well, a nice at bat there. 9-pitch at bat, battling. Sabathia over 20 pitches here in this inning. 2 outs with a man on. And we'll see what Tim Beckham can do. Beckham popped out to second. And Sabathia got the ball in on him. That was in the second inning. Fastball, a little something on it, and away. One and one. Screen. Longoria is the base runner. The only runner they've had so far tonight with a single and a walk. Close. We get back 2-2. Up to 25 pitches. And now another full count. That's 3 consecutive full counts here in the 4th inning. It's a little different than the first 3 when he seemed to breeze right through the first 3 innings.
The Rays obviously making him work. The key now is to at some point break through. They're definitely seeing their pitches, at least in this inning.
And a ground ball headed deep to short. Backhanded, a long throw. That's not going to be in time. Beckham is aboard with a base hit. And Longoria moves into second. 2 men on with 2 men out.
Yeah, Tim Beckham able to pull that ball far enough into the hole that Ronald Torreyes, even though he's going to be able to get to it, he's not going to get enough on the throw. That ball in on Beckham. You can see it just wasn't able to step into throw at all, moving away, and Beckham hustling up the line extends this inning for the Rays and does give him a chance here with the runner in scoring position.
Beckham, who finished last year with a 10-game hitting streak, had a hit Sunday and now a hit here in this game. And here is Brad Miller. 2 men on, 2 men out. Rays get the potential tying run to the plate. Miller takes the ball.
And that was the pitch that was going to be a strike call earlier in the game. And now not the case to Brad Miller's favor.
Miller takes a big cut, fouling it back. Miller 30 home runs last year, 7 of those against the Yankees. High chop, deep second, and the toss to second to get the force on Beckham. And so the Rays do not score. They leave a couple. We're through 4 here in game 2 of this series, and it's a 3-0 ball game, New York. And the Rays, New York scored 3 in the 3rd, 2 coming on a home run by Ronald Torreyes. And in the 5th, it will be the top of the order. Brett Gardner, Gary Sanchez, and then Greg Bird. Rizzi, through 4, has made 66 pitches. 4 strikeouts for the Rays right-hander, and Gardner, who doubled in the 3rd, takes a strike to open the 5th. Sabathia made 30 pitches in the 4th, so the Rays, if nothing else, made him work, and they left a couple men. Let's see if that will take its toll. Flipped it into right. Suzy Jr. is there. Will be the first out. Gary Sanchez is on his way to the plate, and we'll check in with Alex.
Well, Dwayne, 3 players tonight making their Rays debut, including Ricky Weeks Jr. Now at 34 years young, this is his 14th season in the big leagues. But you guys talked about it at the start of this game, his veteran presence. Kevin Cash says his clubhouse presence has just been off the charts. His impact has been felt right away. Now he likes to lead by example, but no question, he's just a guy that they enjoy having in this clubhouse. Dwayne?
Yeah, Alex, that's a quality that I think every clubhouse would love to have. And Weeks, a apparently right from the beginning in spring training has filled that bill, and a manager loves a guy like that.
Well, he helps police that clubhouse too. You know, a steadying influence, great example.
Hard hit ball, great pickup by Longoria. Got him at first. Nice job on that ball hit by Sanchez. Outstanding work down there at third by Longoria.
You know, such a great feel for the position. I tell you, we've seen him make every play that you can think of at third base, and there's a hard hit ball, and then gets up here, and you say, well, yeah, he threw the ball, you know, into the turf. But he did that on purpose. That's the thing. That ball scalded, turned around, set himself, and know that you just got to get it over there in a bounce or two. Doesn't overthrow it. You know, having that feel of when to do that, when you need to really step into a throw and get it over there in a hurry. All the different little nuances of the position. Evan Longoria checks off all of the boxes.
There's a strike to Bird. Upstairs, 1-1. Odorizzi now with Bird has faced 21 hitters in this game, and he has 19 first pitch strikes. And he's ahead of Bird, 1-2. I was about to say on that ball hit to Longoria, this new turf tends to be quicker than the old turf, but that ball hit by Sanchez was going to be quick regardless of the turf.
Yeah, and you know what? And a year ago, maybe he doesn't try to bounce that ball on the turf. You know?
Yep.
That's just taking everything into account and such a feel for the position. And you're right on the ball off the bat, too.
Sanchez continues to hit the ball as hard as any hitter in the major leagues.
What exactly is Jake Odorizzi trying to do here with Greg Bird? Just take a look at pitch tracks. Makes no bones about it.
Pops him up. That's a foul ball and will be out of play.
Well, Greg Bird, he's a guy that is an extreme pull type hitter, and so the Rays so far in this series have been working him away. That last one in after you get him looking out there, which is not a bad play. We'll just see if Jake goes right back to the outside corner here once again.
It's fouled again, out of play.
And he tried to. He yanked that one back in across the plate. Even so, it can be effective. You can go right back with that pitch after you've doubled up in.
Toward the line in left. Borges on the run. That's going to fall. A fair ball by the bullpen mound. Borges with the pickup. The throw will be back toward third, and Bird manages to drop a double just fair inside the left field line.
Jake gets this ball away, and Greg Bird able to just soft serve it and keep it fair. Frustrating 2-out hit because it gives the Yankees another opportunity.
Matt Holliday will get a chance to hit now in the fifth inning. Two-out opportunity for New York. Holliday doubled in the third inning on the fly ball that was lost out there in left by Borges. One. Jake at 80 pitches now. ball, 2 strikes. Only other scoring opportunity the Yankees had in the third after the 2-run home run, and that fly ball that was lost allowed them to score an additional run. Now Bird's at second with 2 outs in the 5th. That's fouled off Holliday's foot.
I tell you, Jake Odorizzi has shown Matt Holliday a little bit of everything here tonight. Split change, working down and in, and boy, good thing you have the padding on there. Even with it, it's not going to feel real good, but you give yourself a chance. He hammered that ball up the inside of that left leg.
Base runner, Bird. Taking low. 2-2. Full count again. He went full with Bird. And now 3-2 on Holliday. Salisbury waiting on deck. And ball 4. So with 2 outs now, 2 men on. Second walk given up in this game by Jake.
Well, that was a veteran at bat there by Matt Holliday, becoming wise to what Jake Odorizzi was trying to do to put him away. Those balls down in the zone, off speed pitches. He went from swinging at them, understanding, started to see it out of the hand, to taking them, and works himself a walk.
Jacoby Ellsbury, 1 of 2. To the first pitch, strike. Ellsbury had the base hit, the deflection off Odorizzi in the third. Play. 0-2. Odorizzi has been successful in getting out in front of these hitters. Put him away, started to go and check. Ellsbury holding up. Odorizzi over 20 pitches in this inning. Made 28 back in the third. Shortstop Beckham to second for the force, and we'll go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Great play in the top half of the 5th by Longoria at third on the ball hit by Sanchez. Rays will go to their half of the inning, and it is 3-0 New York. Bottom of the fifth. Get in on the action with exclusive on-field seating in the Papa John's bullpen box. Host your group of 50 to 85 in the private party area, just steps from the Rays bullpen. Reserve the Papa John's bullpen box by calling group sales at 888-FAN-RAYS, emailing group sales at raysbaseball.com, or visiting raysbaseball.com. Limited dates remain. Derek Norris leads off, taking the pitch for a ball, 1-0. Ball, 1 strike. Daniel Robertson next, and then Peter Borges. Ball, 2 strikes. Down on strikes.
CC Sabathia continues to execute at a high level here tonight, using all of his pitches. In, out, back to another breaking ball here, starting it off the plate, dropping it middle down.
Daniel Robertson, 23-year-old infielder, making his major league debut. There's a young hitter making his debut against a left-handed pitcher out there who knows exactly what he's doing with all the years of experience he has.
Yeah. And then think about the fact that Robertson is in the DH role,
yep,
which is going to be tough for any young hitter because he's probably never done it.
Chop to third. Endless throw to first in time.
You know,
a couple of ground outs now.
These guys are all about routine, and the routine for Daniel Robertson has been I hit, I take my glove, and I go field. Well, all of a sudden now I hit, and I got to stay busy for the next hour, 45 minutes to an hour. I've got to try to find a routine that works and go up and hit a little bit in the cage and be ready to go for that next AB. It's not an easy transition at all.
Well, here's Peter Borges. Hit the ball on a line to third in the third inning. Which is up. He lost the fly ball in left, lifted by Matt Holliday in the third. By the way, that's the first time that Borges has played left field in the major leagues. And he hasn't played here in 2 or 3 years. I think 2014 was the last time he played the outfield here. Came up essentially as a center fielder and has played right field, played mostly right last year, but has never played left in the major leagues until tonight. And he lost that ball in the ceiling.
Yeah, well, you know, so did I. I mean, watching it come off the bat, I saw it go all the way up to its apex and then kind of was looking for when is this thing going to come down and where. It can be tough. Be tough here.
1-2 the count. Ball, 2 strikes. Rays pushed Sabathia to 30 pitches in the fourth, but left a couple men on. He's retired the first 2 here in the fifth in short order and is ahead of Borges. Near miss, 2-2. other way. Rays have left 3, New York 5. The Yankees have all 3 runs in this game. And a full count. We've seen quite a few of those here the last time through the lineup. Rays were 3 consecutive full counts in the 4th, now 3-2 in the 5th inning. And Borges is aboard. So they draw the walk. It comes with 2 outs. And we'll go to the top of the order.
And you know, CC Sabathia frustrated by that. The 9-hole, 2 outs in the inning. But a nice job by Peter Borges to not chase, not expand the strike zone.
Well, you keep battling, and Sabathia has been every bit the veteran tonight.
Yeah, well, he absolutely has, and what he's done is, for the most part, he has stayed out of the middle of the plate, which is why all of a sudden you see some better at-bats by Rays hitters as they see more of him and not as apt to chase. Now you need just a mistake, and you need to capitalize, and this is a brand new game.
Fastball fouled back by Souza Jr. Strike 1. Tapper foul. 2. Yankees have action in the bullpen. That's Brian Mitchell, the right-hander, up. Just started to throw. Souza Jr. down in the count. Tapper halfway to the mound. Sabathia pick up and a wide throw. Souza Jr. aboard. So the Rays with 2 outs have a little something brewing now.
Here comes Larry Rothschild to try to slow things down a little bit. Steven Souza Jr. a swinging bunt right out in front of the plate. And it's kind of in that no man's land. And look at Souza Jr. get out of the box with the hustle. Forces a quick throw by Sabathia, and even if this is on target, I think Souza Jr. is going to beat it. Boy, he got there in a hurry.
So that 2-out walk drawn by Borges and Souza's infield hit will get the potential tying run to the plate.
And already, we talked about it earlier in the game, coming into this ball game, Kiermaier 4 for 5 off Sabathia with 2 home runs. So not out of the realm of possibility.
Kevin 0 for 2 tonight, victimized the last time out of the shift when they had Headley just to the right side of second, shading the middle. And he came up with that ground ball and threw him out. And a tap back to the mound. Sabathia gets out of this one. The Rays will lead 2, and we're headed into the 6th. 3-0 New York. Chevy dealers. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. On to the 6th we go. Jake Odorizzi has made 89 pitches. And Starlin Castro leads off for New York. The second baseman. Pitch is low. Jumbo Diaz up in the Rays bullpen. It's a ball outside, 2-0. Well, he had made 18 consecutive first pitch strikes until falling behind Castro here. Speaking of Odorizzi out there, and he picks up a strike there. 2-1. Now back even. Castro had 3 hits in the game on Sunday, went 3 for 4.
What up, guys? Woo! Hey, what's happening?
It's foul back. Headley next, and then Judge. And it's fouled away. Count holds at 2-2. Castro gets time for Marvin Hudson. And he gets him with a popper, short center. Kiermaier makes the catch. So 1 away here in the 6th inning. How about the Republic Bank Draft Room? It's exclusively for Rays season ticket holders, lending hospitality and comfort and offering local craft beers and themed signature food items. Tropicana Field's premier destination exclusively for Rays season ticket holders, the Republic Bank Draft Room. Call 888-FAN-RAYS for info. Ball 1 to Headley. Shot back into center field. Kiermaier's going to have to go to the wall, and that one is out of here. Headley to straightaway center. That makes it 4-0.
Well, Chase Headley is a notorious dead fastball hitter. And he got one where he could drop the barrel on it, and it was the sound that gave it away. Trying to go to the outside corner, that ball stays middle down, and that left-handed swing. And you could hear there the crack of the bat. Said bad things about to happen for the Rays.
Big cut and a foul ball by Judge.
Well, that's what it's been tonight for Jake Odorizzi. He's done a great job of pitching from out in front, pitching ahead, but it's been a cutter and a fastball that have leaked out over the plate, stayed out over the plate, that have gone for home runs, and that right now is the difference in the game.
Well, Headley hit 14 home runs last year, and there was no doubt about that one upon contact. Dead center. So coming off 3 for 4 on Sunday, he has a home run tonight.
And when we say a guy's a dead fastball hitter, that doesn't mean you don't throw him a fastball. You've just got to throw it to the right spot. And he'll chase the fastball up out over the plate, but Jake was trying to go down and away there. Not a bad idea. It just ended up down middle.
Liner into right. Susie Jr.'s there. 2 gone. Bases empty for Ronald Torreyes, who hit the other home run back in the 3rd, jumping on the first pitch. And that was pretty sudden. Judge had singled on an 0-2 pitch, and then the very next pitch, Torreyes hit it out. There's a strike. Rizzi starting in with a fastball. Two. Protecting and fouling it away. Yankees have hit 2 home runs tonight. Pretty close. Rizzi set to make a move toward the dugout. A little wide, 1-2.
Not by much. Little cutter. This one well executed. Ooh, just off, if at all.
Fly ball center field. Kiermaier will go back, turn around, and make the catch. A run on the home run by Headley. We head into the bottom of the 6th. Evan Longoria will lead it off for the Rays. 4-0 New York.
To field the Yankees with a 4-0 lead. We talked about CC Sabathia reinventing himself over the last couple of seasons, and that was on full display here tonight. Working the cutter, the slider, the fastball showed some pretty good life to it. Also the changeup, and he just continued to miss the barrel end of the bat by moving the ball around the strike zone, having a great idea tonight what he was doing, kept the Rays off balance all evening long, and he exits after 5 shutout innings.
Well, last year, Sabathia, in 21 of his 30 starts, permitted 3 runs or fewer. And tonight worked 5 innings, no runs on 3 hits, and the Rays will see Brian Mitchell. Big right-hander. Evan Longoria takes the ball from him. Mitchell, 25 years old. And a liner, 1 hop down to third. Headley up with a high throw, but down on the bag comes Bird. And Evans retired for the first time tonight.
Chase Headley, a home run in the top half. That throw almost got away from him. Greg Bird, though, plenty tall enough, able to go up, grab it, come back down on the bag.
Well, here's Ricky Weeks Jr. Mitchell throws a strike. Tommy Lane, the lefty, up now in the bullpen for New York. It's 1-1. Balls and a strike. Mitchell first got to the big leagues just for a brief period in 2014 in 3 games, 1 start. Was in 20 games for them in 2015. Two and 2. Right-hander out of Reidsville, North Carolina. The count is full. Second time that Weeks has worked the full count. High pop fly short right. Judge in and makes the catch. 2 gone. So the bases are empty with 2 outs for Tim Beckham. Beckham had the infield hit his last time. Little tapper to short. Reyes gloves and throws, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Mitchell. On to the 7th we go from the Trop. 4-0 New York. And Jumbo Diaz will make his Rays debut, most recently with the Cincinnati Reds. And he takes over for Jake Odorizzi.
Yeah, and you're not kidding, Dwayne, with Jumbo. This is a big, imposing man on the mound, and you see his numbers with the Reds in 45 games of work, primarily going to work with the fastball, the slider, and a little split. But boy, oh boy, he comes downhill at you with some size and some speed, and the Rays hoping for big things out of Jumbo coming out of that Rays bullpen.
Well, he was 1-1 with the Reds last year in 45 games and a .314 earned run average. And he'll face the top of the New York order. It'll be Brett Gardner, then Sanchez and Bird. 6 innings for Odorizzi, 107 pitches, 4 runs, 7 hits, a couple walks, 4 strikeouts, and 2 home runs. Pitch is upstairs. Gardner with a double and a run scored in 3 at-bats tonight. That's a strike, 1-1. It's Tyler Clippard in the bullpen for New York.
This is where you start to get into that territory where the Yankees can unleash the back end of that bullpen. Clippard, Betances to Chapman.
Yeah, on most nights that would be the game plan for the Yankees. Trying to shorten the game, take a lead, and then unleash the bullpen.
Well, and you're seeing more and more of that across the game. Building strong bullpens with a lot of firepower. Try to get accomplished guys for late to shorten games. Yankees were great at that a year ago. Well, to the point that you end up, flipping Chapman to the Cubs to pick up some prospects and then sign them back in the offseason.
Yeah, Yankees did a great job with that. They have some good young talent down below.
Yeah.
And made some deals to supplement that.
I'll tell you, they're one of the strongest farm systems in the game right now. Brent Cashman has been a busy man.
2-2 the count on Gardner.
Well, you forget about Andrew Miller too. Sending him to Cleveland for a couple of big prospects.
Yep. And there is strike 3 call. So Diaz, facing his first man in a Rays uniform, picks up a strikeout, striking out Gardner looking.
And good breaking ball right here. Hard slider. Caught plenty of the plate. Keep it right at the kneecaps. The pitch.
His busiest year with the Reds was year before last in 2015. He was in 61 games with a .418 earned run average. Worked a little over 60 innings. And there's a strike picking up the corner. Sanchez a couple strikeouts and a ground ball to third. That was a good play down at third by Longoria in the 5th inning to retire him on a very hard hit ball. Pops it up this time. Miller on the shortstop side of second on the shift out there in shallow center field takes care of that. Baseball is back on FS1 tomorrow night. Stars shine bright in Tampa Bay as the New York Yankees, led by Gary Sanchez, take on Evan Longoria and the Rays. Don't miss the action. That'll be tomorrow, Wednesday at 6 Eastern on FS1. Two outs in the 7th. Here's Greg Bird. by him. Strike one.
And plenty on the fastball. You can hear the crack of the glove.
One ball, one strike. Picks up another strike right there. 1 and 2. Two balls, 2 strikes. Diaz out of the Dominican Republic facing Greg Bird. Count will go full.
When he went to pitch for the WBC, for the Dominican Republic in the WBC, and the Rays had to kind of wait for their acquisition to show up into camp.
Yeah, they acquired him and didn't see him for a while. And he's hard to miss. Full count. Popper, left side, Longoria out from third, making the call and the catch. So it's a 1-2-3 seventh inning for Jumbo Diaz in his Rays debut. We now go to Rich and Orestes for the Unlimited Baseball Break, brought to you by T-Mobile.
Thank you, Dwayne. Stretch time here at Tropicana Field, where the Rays trail the Yankees by a score of 4-0. And in case you missed anything, here is your game recap. Jake Odorizzi pitched well despite giving up those 4 runs. 6 innings pitched, 7 hits allowed, 2 walks, 4 Ks, and he went a total of 107 pitches. 76 of those were strikes. Chase Headley got to him, though, with the solo home run in the 6th, and Evan Longoria continues to dominate. CC Sabathia hitting well over 400 against CC. Inside Tropicana Field from our left field perch, Rich Hollenberg and Orestes Destrada. Game 1, opening day, we saw a hit parade from the Rays. 7 runs, 13 hits. Tonight, much different. It's been a pitcher's duel on both sides.
A pitcher's duel, but there's no doubt that CC Sabathia has gotten the better of that pitcher's duel. He really came in and did 5 strong innings. You know, you're talking about Evan Longoria hitting CC. Pretty much everybody in the Rays side for the last couple of years have hit CC, but not today. He pitched very well. He mixes pitches nicely. He went in, out, up, and away, only throwing about 90 or 92, but he spotted his pitches much better than, say, Masahiro Tanaka did. So go figure.
So CC Sabathia thus far is our showstopper of the game. He went 5 innings, 3 hits allowed, but no earned runs. He threw a total of 85 pitches, 55 of them for strikes.
That was one of the beautiful ones right there, that Ricky Weeks strikeout. It was a battle by Ricky, and he got it with a high fastball. There's a high fastball again. That 92-mile-an-hour high fastball will get you if the slider and the sinker are working in unison. So that's why 90-92 worked out. And by the way, the Yankees in their roster have 9 guys 6'4" or more, 4 guys 6'7" or more, and it's the 5'8", 150-pound Torreyes who gets a big home run and puts them ahead.
So that is your T-Mobile Unlimited Ballpark break. Ronald Torreyes, the 2-run blast was the big blow against Jake Odorizzi. The Yankees lead it by a score of 4-0. We head to the bottom of the 7th, and we send it back to the boys in the booth with Brad Miller set to lead off. Here's Dwayne and B.A. Guys.
All right, Rich, Orestes, thank you very much. And here is Miller stepping in against Tyler Clippard. Miller, Norris, and Robertson due up. The Rays need some runs. The pitch is a strike. Mitchell worked 1 perfect inning, got a couple ground balls and a fly ball. And here's Clippard. 69 appearances last year. It's 1-1.
where he's not going to overwhelm you with velocity, but he's going to come at you with a lot of different pitches. The fastball, the changeup, slider, curveball. And that's the key. That's the key right there, that off speed, that changeup. He's got to have a big differential between the fastball and that pitch with velocity. And you see how far Brad Miller was out in front of that. That's the whole key.
And that differential is consistently 10 or 12 miles per hour.
Where you see that used to be what you shot for, 10 or 12. Now guys can get away with 5, 6, 7, but you're able to get it out there where you're throwing your fastball 92, changeup 79, 80. Boy, it is tough to be able to handle both of those pitches as a hitter.
Coming into this year, you think about Clippard and how busy he's been. Since 2009 coming into this year, he made 509 appearances. That's tops in the major leagues.
Yeah, wow. Durable.
Full count now against Brad Miller. High fly ball towering into right center field. And it's going to be Ellsbury alongside Judge. Actually a little bit behind him in his shadow.
Yeah.
Ellsbury would be the shadow of Judge wherever he went. And he made the catch right there.
The way those two were converging, you were wondering who was going to take control. It's not the big guy.
Well, you respect the center fielder regardless of size.
You better.
Now Derek Norris. Strike one. Norris 0 for 2 tonight. And a base hit in the game on Sunday. Went 1 for 4. Balls, no strikes. 28-year-old catcher Derek Norris. Up, and he missed it. Doug Wechter jersey in action tonight. Norris is out on strikes.
Hey, look at that.
There you are. That's what we're talking about.
He'd be so proud. I'm proud for him.
2 up, 2 down against Clippard. Daniel Robertson, Austin Pruitt busy in the bullpen for the Rays. Strike. Robertson at Durham last year. Played most of the year at shortstop, but time at second and third as well. Took him a while to get that offensive side going in the spring, but he finished hot in the spring. He, I think, finished 12 of his last 25 swinging the bat. And that and his versatility helped him make the team.
Yeah, nothing like ramping up offensively. And, Kevin Cash talked about that versatility and being able to back up the shortstop position.
There's a foul ball right off the plate umpire, Marvin Hudson. Sanchez checks with him to make sure he's all right. Take a look at this. Sanchez with a trip to the mound, and Hudson takes advantage of that opportunity to reboot himself there after that foul ball off the mask. Not much going offensively for the Rays tonight. They left men at first and second in the fourth inning, first and second in the fifth. Left a man at first in the first, and that's it. And Robertson is out. 3 up, 3 down in the seventh. We go to the eighth. 4-0 New York. The Yankees again tomorrow, and that will be on FS1. Coverage begins at 6 o'clock, and then the Rays will play host to the Toronto Blue Jays. Here's what's coming up Thursday on Rays Live. Pre-game show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. We'll hear from the left-hander Blake Snell, who will be opening that series. Orestes will break down the new faces in the Rays bullpen. Speaking of that bullpen, here is Austin Pruitt. Jumbo Diaz worked one perfect inning, picked up a strikeout, and now the rookie Pruitt is in the game. He was in the game briefly here on Sunday and really ran into some tough luck.
He sure did. He sure did. It was a tough way to start, but you get an opportunity a couple of days later. Trying to put up a 0 and give your team a couple of cracks to crawl back into this game.
Matt Holliday to lead off the 8th inning. Pruitt's first pitch is a strike.
Boy, that was that inning where Chase Headley had his third opposite field hit against the shift. And there was an error in that inning.
It's 1-1. Pruitt touched for a run, but it was unearned in that outing. Two balls and a strike. Rays playing their first 14 games against the AL East. The Yankees, the Blue Jays, and the Red Sox. Three and one to count. Go to 3-2. On deck is Jacoby Ellsbury. Pruitt out of the University of Houston, lives in the Woodlands, north of Houston. Shot back into left field, pretty well tagged. Borges to the track to make the catch on this one. Now the left fielder, Borges, got back to the warning track to make the catch. One away.
Matt Holliday hit that ball well. A little bit fooled with the ball off the bat. Thought that could be trouble for the Rays, but Borges, another speedy left fielder, paired with Kiermaier in center, they can cover some ground.
So Pruitt gets his first out in the big leagues. Victimized by the error in the game Sunday. And now here's Ellsbury. Oh. 10 hits in this game. The Yankees have 7, the Rays 3. And that's a fair ball just inside the bag by the left-handed bat of Jacoby Ellsbury, and he's going to wind up at second with a double. Well, the Yankees are hitting them where they ain't here with Pruitt in the game.
Absolutely no chance on this from Jacoby Ellsbury. The ball working itself deep into the zone, and you can see how he just slashes it the other way, right up the line. I mean, 6 inches fair, maybe, for extra bases.
So Ellsbury's at second, and the second baseman Starlin Castro steps in. Liner into right. Souza Jr. makes the catch, tagged by Ellsbury. He heads to third and makes it standing ahead of the throw.
Pretty strong throw there by Souza Jr. when he really couldn't get a lot of momentum into it. That ball was hit so hard out to him by Castro. He caught it well above his head and then uncorked a strong throw to third base. This ball not set up as well as you would like, just because of the trajectory of the ball getting to him. A strong throw nonetheless.
Headley takes it foul back at third. Strike one. Headley squared up a pitch and hit it right out to center field in the 6th. And a fastball to dead center. Strike. 0-2. Betances has been up in the bullpen, and Holder has joined him.
Well, Holder probably, if there's another run that comes across the board here for the Yankees. If not, if it stays at 4, more than likely here comes Betances.
Close with a fastball. Aaron Judge on deck. Shot right there and missed in. The count is full. of the 4 runs by the Yankees driven in by the bottom part of the order in this game. Ground ball, and again through the left side against the shift. Base hit for Headley. And boy, he's making a lot of hay hitting it against the shift as he drives in a run. And it's now 5-0.
You know what, Dwayne? And he actually talked about that after opening day and said, if you continue to shift against me, I'm going to continue to exploit it. You can see Evan Longoria right there, everybody else wide open spacing. And he got a pitch to handle. He got a breaking ball on the outer half, and he just slaps it into the middle of nowhere. And that drives in a run. And Chase Headley said, the more often that I do that, the more I'm going to force you to play me straight up.
Aaron Judge, the pitch to him is away. So the Yankees have a run home here in the 8th inning, a couple of hits.
That's a lot of drawing I just did there. Some angles.
And a strike on the outside part of the plate.
Felt like I was 10 years old again.
All of those geometry classes, see?
And you thought they'd never come in handy.
See, they do. They're
Like,
all.
I'm not going to be an engineer, be building anything. Who knew?
Runner takes off. The pitch is a strike, and the throw is not in time. Norris made it from his knees, and Headley steals second.
And certainly in a 5-run game, you're not expecting Chase Headley to be attempting to steal second base, but he gets a great jump and gets there in time.
Two and two. Judge takes it low. This one will skip away to the backstop. And over to third on the wild pitch goes Headley.
See Derek Norris there too, trying to backhand that. Tough pitch to backhand. And Cairns up and away.
Ground ball for Beckham. Throw to Weeks right there to retire the side. Yankees add a run. Leave a man. It's 5-0 as we go to the bottom of the 8th. Done, brought to you by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers and by Pinch a Penny, the perfect people for a perfect pool. Rays with the opening homestand of the year, taking the first game Sunday from the Yankees, coming in to hit in the bottom of the 8th, down 5-0 tonight. Corey Dickerson will pinch hit for Borges to begin the bottom of the 8th. Jonathan Holder in the game on the hill for New York. His first pitch is a strike.
Well, just as we expected, the Yankees with that extra run. Betances down, Holder in, and Dickerson with the first crack at it.
Dickerson had a hit and a run scored Sunday leading off, and a big cut right there.
Boy, that was power on power.
Yeah, my back hurts just watching him swing.
Holder's delivery and Dickerson cutting it loose.
One ball, 2 strikes. Holder pitched an inning in the game on Sunday, gave up a couple of hits and picked up 2 strikeouts. Jr. next, then Kevin Kiermaier hits 3rd here in the 8th. Dickerson, after that pitch up, is out on strikes.
Dangerous, dangerous pitch for hitters because it looks so good. The ball looks so big, and a lot of times you just cannot get up high enough to make any sort of significant contact. Those are the pitches right there. The best you can hope is a foul ball. Too difficult to get on top of.
Steven Souza Jr. And he taps this one. That's going to be difficult. Holder's throw not in time. So a couple of infield hits tonight for Souza Jr. It's 2 for 4 and aboard with 1 out in the 8th.
Boy, he has hit 2 balls on the ground here that maybe combined, maybe get past the mound. Maybe. Just on the other side of the mound, and he's got 2 hits. You'll take it.
Well, the Rays need some base runners, and they're running out of outs. We're in the bottom of the 8th. Too close. Moves Kiermaier out of there. With that infield hit by Souza Jr. gets Betances up again in the bullpen. It's 1-1. Kevin looking for his first hit tonight. Grounds him in off the plate, 2-1. Yankees and the Rays tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Game coverage begins on FS1. Alex Cobb and Michael Pineda. a strike. 2-2. Fouled back. Hey, there's a little chopper against the ship, and the Rays are going to have a couple men on. So Kiermaier has a base hit. The Reyes had to go over and come up with that ball, and now 2 men on with 1 out. And Joe Girardi pops out of that dugout. That's going to be it. He's going to go to the bullpen.
Well, Rays are able to exploit the shift right there. Kevin Kiermaier just kind of slaps that ball over to the left side. There's going to be no chance to make a play on anybody, and we'll see if the gamble by Girardi to start the inning with Holder comes back to haunt him.
Back with the new pitcher in a moment. Kenyon Martin, Jermaine O'Neal, and other legends of the hardwood leave it all on the floor for a 10-city 3-on-3 battle, the likes of which hoops fans have never imagined. Ice Cube presents Big 3 basketball, coming this summer only on FS1. Ellen Betances becomes pitcher number 5 for New York. He's on with Evan Longoria about to step in. 2 men on with 1 out. Rays trying to get on the board. Inside 1-0.
Well, we mentioned it as we were heading to break, but the gamble by Joe Girardi. Okay, 5-run lead, I go with Holder. 4-run lead, Betances. Well, all of a sudden, a couple of base runners, and you got to bring Betances in to this situation.
And another pitch up, 2-0.
You always wonder if you're going to do that, why not just start the inning with them? You know, I understand, you know, a 5-run lead, you know, maybe you start to get a little bit greedy and go with somebody else, but you know, this is a team where it's the beginning of the season. You know, the Yankees have 5 off days in April. You're going to be well rested.
Yeah, and that's why you would do it.
Yeah.
If you're in a situation where you don't want to overwork somebody.
Oh.
2-2 the count on Evan. Padres had a little bit of a hiccup yesterday in a similar situation, and they eventually went to Colomé, who was outstanding to close it out. Two, full count. Could get interesting. Ricky Weeks Jr. on deck. Foul back. Force another 3-2 pitch. Chapman out there. The other big arm in the bullpen. And that will load the bases. Betances walks Longoria.
Well, here you go. It took a while to get here, but you finally have put yourself in position to climb back into this game with a big hit or two. And Ricky Weeks Jr., who had a tremendous spring training and making this team as a non-roster invitee, gonna have first crack here with the bases juiced.
The ball deep to center in the first against Sabathia. 0 for 3 so far tonight. And that's a strike. Kansas in around 97 there. Weeks has one at bat in his career against Betances, 0 for 1. They are loaded. One and one.
This too, you're thinking, and we talked earlier in the game about it, the first base, you know, platoon situation. You got the righty on the mound, you've got Logan Morrison on the bench.
Yeah, and you know what I really think that Kevin Cash will wind up doing, Weeks will make some starts against right-handed pitching. He'll pick his spots with that. It'll be a platoon, but you'll see him, I think, in the lineup against some right-handers. Ground ball, foul back to third.
And while I will agree with that, because if it's just lefties, he's not going to get enough playing time.
Yeah.
So there are going to be some righties that he plays against. There's no doubt about it. You like to pick those matchups and, you know, be able to do that on your own, you know, whatever you think would work well. This is a tough matchup.
Yes.
This is a tough matchup for anybody, let alone right on right.
Piece of that one foul to stay alive. The big rip of a fastball got just a little bit of it.
Well, he stays behind it, and with his reach, the leverage that he creates, that velocity, elite.
But check. 2-2, and boy, you've got to get it started so early. It's difficult to hold up.
I want to say that you ever get comfortable in an at-bat against Betances, but the more pitches that you see, obviously the better it is for you. Get a better idea.
And he got him. Struck him out. Knuckle curve. So a big strikeout for the second out.
There it is. Boy, can he spin it. You got to start it early, and that pitch stayed in the strike zone for a very long time, and it forced the swing by Ricky Weeks in trying to protect the 2 strikes. And by the time the swing's finished, that ball's out of the zone.
So now with Beckham due up, we will see the left-handed bat. Beckham will be lifted, and Logan Morrison, who is 1 for 4 lifetime against Betances, will pinch hit for Beckham.
And obviously there's your decision by Kevin Cash. He knows he's going to get 2 cracks, and he elects to let the veteran Ricky Weeks have the at-bat and pull Tim Beckham and have to shuffle the infield from there.
Down and in. Morrison had a big day here on Sunday. 3 hits, 3 runs batted in, including a home run to right center field in the 3rd after he had singled home 2 runs in the 1st. Strike at the knees, and of course Morrison, as we all know, tends to be a streaky hitter, and if he gets into one of those hot streaks, there are times when he would be the guy you might want up there. Brad Miller on deck. Two outs with a 1-1 count. 1-2.
Had a little cutting action almost.
Yeah, that's not fair.
And no, he was off to the side of that fastball, that measuring at 96. Wonder if that's by design, a new toy for Betances, or just a pitch he got on the side of.
Morrison down in the count, and he did not go. That one dropped low, the knuckle curve. Here you go. Oh boy, that is close. Rays may have gotten a break right there. So it's a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Souza Jr. 3rd, Kiermaier 2nd, Longoria at 1st. Ground ball right side. Glove by Bird, who steps on the bag, and the Rays will not score and leave 3 men aboard. We go to the 9th, 5-0 New York. at the Trop tonight. Coming up on Rays Live, the postgame presented by WB Mason. Rich and Orestes will break down Jake Odorizzi's 2017 debut. We'll have Kevin Cash in his press conference, and Alex Cordry will have interviews from the clubhouse. All on Rays Live, the postgame. Tommy Hunter is going to be the new pitcher for the Rays, their fourth. 2-2 a year ago, spending time with Cleveland and Baltimore. Pruitt worked 1 inning, gave up a run on 2 hits. Daniel Robertson takes over as short. He was the DH, and so the Rays give up the DH. Corey Dickerson is in left. And the first pitch skips away to Ronald Torres, and that's ball 1. Strike.
I'll tell you, he still continues to produce a very good fastball. Tommy Hunter, the veteran, fastball, curveball, cutter, slider.
Speaking of a good fastball, there's Aroldis Chapman loosening in the bullpen. Robertson from short and scooped by Weeks. 1 away.
Daniel Robertson getting his first opportunity. Ricky Weeks playing first base for the first time, picking a nice scoop.
He was amazing in spring training and how he took to that position.
A lot of work, you know, the nuances, all these different positions, the footwork, the things that are important, you know, the stretch, the scoop, the way that you've got to, you know, work that bag over there. That's not easy. You've never done it before. You've been in the game for a long time. You got to put the time in, and he did.
Brett Gardner takes the pitch low. Gardner just 2 for 20 against Hunter, but one of those hits was a home run. It's ball 3, fastball. It's around 94. Retired the first man, and he walks Gardner. Third walk given up by Rays pitching first by the bullpen. Odorizzi walked 2 in the 6 innings he worked. There's Gary Sanchez. Sanchez. Couple of strikeouts tonight, victimized by a good play at third in the 5th inning by Evan Longoria. So he's 0 for 4 tonight. Up the right side, that's a foul ball and a long run. Souza Jr. was positioned way over toward right center, had no chance. It's been Odorizzi for 6, Jumbo Diaz for 1, Austin Pruitt for 1, and now Tommy Hunter. Strike 0-2. One thing the Rays are trying to do as well is get that bullpen settled in to see how they can get that transformation from the starter to the closer with some consistency.
Well, that's going to be the challenge early on, is being able to identify that. I'm sure that Kevin Cash and Jim Hickey have an idea of what they'd like to see happen.
Well, they had Farquhar and Pruitt ahead of Colomé in the game Sunday.
Well, it's going to be a lot of matchup-based decisions, really, until the bullpen is completely sorted out. Brad Boxberger is able to make it back. He's obviously a big missing piece.
Line drive, and it's caught it short. He's out there trying to transfer the baseball, and so Robertson makes the catch, and as he was trying to get it out of his glove for a quick throw, it got away from him. Mike Estabrook on the call out there at second base. So a line drive out on, again, a sharply hit ball by Sanchez.
Yeah, he's just not been able to find any open territory. Daniel Robertson right here making a nice catch, and you're right, he's trying to get that ball out of the glove as quickly as he can, and on the transfer.
2 outs with Gardner still at first, and here is Greg Bird. Ball, no strikes. Chapman continues to loosen in the bullpen. One. Two and one. Bird getting his first look at Hunter.
Usually doesn't go well for the Bird.
That's right. That's a precarious matchup for the Bird when it's Hunter and Bird. We'll see how this one turns out. Three-one the count. Now the count is full. Bird doubled in the fifth, walked in the first, a strikeout in the third, and a fly ball to left in the seventh inning. Fly ball deep to center. Kiermaier will go to the track, and Bird flies out. So we go to the bottom of the ninth inning. Rays will have Miller, Norris, and Robertson due up, down 5. Rays come in for their final shot, bottom of the 9th inning. So far, they've been shut out on 5 hits. They've drawn 3 walks against C.C. Sabathia, Brian Mitchell, Tyler Clippard, Jonathan Holder, and Dylan Betances. And here in the 9th, they'll be facing Aroldis Chapman. So 2/3 of an inning for Betances, and now it's Chapman.
Well, 58 innings, 90 strikeouts, 18 walks in 59 games. And I'll tell you, his fastball usually starts out at about 100. He goes up and beyond that number more frequently than anybody else, and it's not even close.
And a cut and a miss by Miller. That first pitch at 99 and 100 miles per hour, the norm for him. In fact, last year out of the bullpen, 100 plus 544 times.
Jeez.
And this one is fouled back. It hits 100.
1. There we go.
Yep.
544 times.
Yeah, that's consistency with that 100 plus, isn't it?
Well, think about that. 544 times in 58 innings. That's almost 10 times. I mean, wow.
Oh, look out. That ball hit the bat and it's foul. You're not sure who was more nervous about that, Miller or someone in the direction of that foul ball. Look at this. Take off. Piece of that one foul. Chapman, pitcher number 6 for New York. And Miller is out on strikes, and boy, there's not much you can do.
I think I would disagree with that being a changeup. That thing swept about 3 feet, and you can't blame Brad Miller after that. 100 miles an hour up and in. And all of a sudden, watch the sweeping action on this pitch. Pretty nasty changeup.
Here's Derek Norris. Starts him at 99 with a fastball up. Upstairs, 2-0. Broken bat and a roller to short. Reyes throws him out. He let up a little bit on that fastball in at 97.
Just cruising through. I mean, it really is incredible, the arm strength and the ability to consistently hit triple digits.
Well, there's Daniel Robertson in his major league debut. 0 for 3 so far tonight. A couple ground balls and a strikeout. Strike 1. So he starts him with a slider.
Yeah, you know, this is where you're just playing around. It's not even fair.
One and one. foul right back into the screen. So 1-2 here. Rays down to their final out and their final strike. Robertson battling, fouls it into the screen. That one 100. Just a little bit of that back with a slider. And the bat winds up over the dugout on the swing and the miss at the 100-mile-an-hour fastball to end this one. The Rays are 3 up, 3 down in the 9th inning. And the series is even at a game apiece. Here's the final out of the game on this fastball. 5-9-0, 7 left for New York, 0-5-0, 8 left for the Rays. Sabathia the winner, Odorizzi the loser. Before 19,366. Rays win the first game of the series on Sunday 7-3. And the Yankees take game 2 of this 3-game series 5-0. Coming up next, Rays Live, the postgame presented by W.B. Mason.